Steelers Extra Point Show, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside KDKA Studios, Pittsburgh CW. The Steelers come away with a big win. 38-29 is your final score. They had to work to do it. Philadelphia is a resilient team, and they threw a bunch of guys who had really not played that much in the NFL, and the Steelers had no answer for them. But then again, the Eagles had no answer for Chase Claypool. Welcome to our show. As the Steelers get to 4-0 for the first time since 1979. That's 40 years, folks. It's how tough it is to get to 4-0 to start an NFL season. They actually did it 3 times in that decade, 73, 78, and 79. And 2 of those 3 times they won a Super Bowl. Just saying. But that's a big win for the Steelers, considering that was a Philadelphia team that played very well. A gutsy performance by them. Let's bring in Chris Hoke over in Studio B at HokeyBro76. And there were a lot of things to like. There were a lot of things not to like in this game, but your overall observations, Chris.
Well, just like you said, too much Chase Claypool. And who would have thought coming into this game that he would absolutely take over this game? Ben Roethlisberger finding him when he needed to. Most of his catches, his big catches, came on 3rd down, Bob. A 35-yard touchdown catch there to seal that game earlier in the game. A 32-yard touchdown catch. He was all over the field, and just an impressive game by Chase Claypool. You also got to look at the other side of the ball. Some things that concern you are some of the big plays, big 3rd down catches that were given up by that defensive backfield of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've got to tighten up that defense. We've been seeing that too much this season.
Yeah, they didn't even have their better wide receivers who were out of this game. Deshaun Jackson did not play. Neither did Alshon Jeffrey. And yet those guys, and Travis Fulgham, give him credit. You know, he was a 6th-round pick. He had been on practice squads. He got an opportunity to play because of the injuries. And boy, did he have a day today. And the Steelers really had no answer for him, along with Ward and Hightower and guys you really don't know about in their situation at wide receiver because of the injury. I want to ask you, Chris, defensively, what I noticed in this game is the Steelers were doing a lot of blitzing on 1st and 2nd down, trying to create long distances on 3rd down for the opposition. But I counted no less than 5 times, 3rd and 9 or longer, and that included 3rd and 17, where the Steelers then called off the dogs. They flooded the zone, and Wentz found open receivers. Is that the right way to go once you pin him back, just to get more flooding the zone with cover guys and take your chances, or should you continue to just go after him?
Well, you know, Coach Butler is going to mix it up. He's going to send a blitz. He's going to go with his 4-man rush. He has a lot of confidence, Bob, in the 4 guys up front. T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt. They keep coming at you, and then he brings the blitzes. But you're right. I mean, he dropped a lot of guys back into coverage, hoping that Carson Wentz would throw the ball over to them. What I saw here, and we saw this the week before, 2 weeks ago against the Houston Texans, is if the Steelers aren't getting pressure on the quarterback, they get a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. But if they're not getting pressure, the defensive backfields have a hard time getting coverage, making tight coverage when you talk about the zone, and then when it's man, it's just a long time to cover these guys. So if they're not tied together, that defense struggles at times.
There are problems to work out, but it's a lot easier to do it when you're 4-0, and that's what the Steelers are after their win today, 38-29 over a Eagles team that wouldn't go away. And here you go. This is the last time it happened, 1979. They started 4-0. They ended up 12-4, but they won a Super Bowl. 78, 14-2 as a result of that 4-0 start. And then in 73, they lost to Oakland in the playoffs. You remember that season beset by injury. And we will take a break on that note. Steelers get to 4-0 today, 38-29. It's the first time they scored 30 points in 24 games. It was long overdue, and they got it done today, due largely to Chase Claypool. We have player reaction. We have Mike Tomlin press conference all coming up right here live on Pittsburgh CW.
Check out CBSN Pittsburgh, your local news streaming 24/7 on KDKA.com and all your favorite devices.
Rides made us feel something once. They can do it again. Introducing the all-new turbocharged K5.
To many, I'm a Hall of Fame football player, but I'm also a family man and a proud Pittsburgher. I'm also a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage member. As a running back, my teammates were there to protect me. As a United Healthcare member, I still have a strong team supporting me. Their award-winning customer service team and a strong network of doctors and hospitals give me peace of mind that I can get the care I need when and where I want it. Call today.
Your wireless, your rules, your savings. When you get Xfinity Mobile and Internet together, you could save up to $400 a year. Choose from flexible wireless data options on the most reliable network, now with 5G included at no extra cost. Get an incredible offer on Xfinity Mobile and Internet together, and you could save up to $400 a year on your wireless bill. Click, call, or visit a store today to learn more.
Grit, determination, desire to be the best, or as we call it, going to work. But good luck getting the job done without the right tools. You'll need an F-150 with best-in-class payload and plenty of capability to do it right. That's how you become the best-selling trucks in Pittsburgh and the official truck of your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
All right, welcome back as we continue here. Bob Pompeani and Chris Hoke, 38-29. Steelers go 4-0 to start a season, and they had a bye week that they did not expect to have right in the middle of it all, but it did not affect them today, although there were some areas that certainly need to be fixed as we talked about them. The other thing, Chris, before we get to Mike Tomlin, whenever he gets over there, we'll take you live to his press conference. I thought the officials showed that they needed a preseason. Man, they made some bad calls today. The push-off, Chase Claypool could have had another touchdown. It was called a push-off. I saw nothing to indicate that. And then there was Vince Williams called for roughing the passer. I don't know what you're supposed to do. You're a defensive guy. How do you stop yourself when you're right in the middle of the sternum of the quarterback and he still has his hand on the ball?
Well, let's take all of these calls. When you talk about the referees, I thought the side judges had a tough day. You look at some of these calls on Darius Slay, on the other DBs for the Eagles, some pass interference calls that I thought were suspect. That call by Chase Claypool was very suspect. Did not think that was a pass interference. Let's turn to the call that you referenced with Vince Williams. And that, according to the new way they're calling these roughing the passers, you have to say that is a pass interference, that is a roughing the passer. Let me tell you why. He drove his helmet into his breadbasket, but what they're wanting them to do is kind of roll to the side as they're falling to the ground. You remember the big deal that happened last year? Vince Williams kept his face mask right in his breadbasket, drove him to the ground, and as he hit the ground was still driving him into the ground. Whether you like it or not, those are the new rules, and that by rule and by definition is a roughing the passer.
Okay, well, I guess I understand that, but it makes it very difficult, I think, because his head was down, and I don't think he had any idea where the ball was at the time. You're just trying to finish it off. I think they've made it so that it's very difficult to make a play defensively.
Well, it doesn't matter where the ball's at, Bob. I mean, really, the ball can be in or out. You can't drive the quarterback into the ground. He still had the ball in his hand, though, Chris. But whether he has the ball in his hand or not, they don't want you driving and putting all of your weight onto the quarterback. They want you to hit him.
I understand.
And what they're trying to do is you're trying to roll to your side.
You don't know where the ball is, and you're trying to make a play so that he maybe gets his, his arm is hit, the ball goes in the air, it's intercepted. All I know is that he's trying to finish a play, and it's hard for me to think a defensive player, and I'm surprised you wouldn't defend this. I'm defending you now.
No, I'm just telling you what the rule is.
Let me ask you something. How are you going to know to go to the left or go to the right so you don't hit him in the sternum? You're just trying to make a play.
No, listen, this has not been easy to call or easy to play since it's been implemented into the NFL. It's a difficult one, and they're trying to train these players. Listen, Bob, this is an offense-driven league, a quarterback-driven league, and if you're knocking out these star quarterbacks and you drive them into the ground, that's what they don't want. And so they're trying to find a way to allow these players to sack a quarterback without driving them to the ground, breaking their neck, breaking their back. It is a very difficult thing for a defensive player to do when he is coming full speed. I mean, he is like a missile, and he's playing good football right now. I'm not faulting him. What I'm telling you is it's how they got to try to adjust and do these things, and it's difficult, and sometimes you just got to live with it and play the next down.
Your interpretation is the right one. I just find it hard to believe it's very difficult to make a defensive player do that. Meantime, getting back to Chase Claypool, 10 receivers were selected ahead of him in the NFL draft this past year, and a lot of people thought at the time the Steelers should have gone with J.K. Dobbins. They instead immediately went to Chase Claypool, and now you know why. I mean, he's the kind of guy who loves to play football, number one, Chris. He volunteers to do special teams, and, he has he has the frame of a tight end, yet he has the speed of a wideout. That's a tough matchup for anyone in the league.
Chase Claypool is a football player. You talked about him playing special teams earlier in the season. Even a couple weeks ago, he had 2 tackles on special teams. He comes in today. You could tell that it was an emphasis to get him involved in the offense. They were giving the ball to him on jet sweeps. They were trying to give him the balls on quick passes out there, on quick screen plays, throwing the ball deep to him. He was a guy that they wanted to get the ball to. They saw a mismatch with Chase Claypool against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was great play calling and great execution by Ben Roethlisberger and Chase Claypool.
Yeah, you think the thing about it, too, John Stallworth never had 4 in a game. Lynn Swann never had 4 in a game. The last guy to do was Roy Jefferson, 4 in a game, but Chase Claypool timed him there. And Mike Tomlin is about to address the media. We have a Zoom interview coming up with him. Has to be happy with the result, but I'm sure he wasn't happy with a lot of things. There were plus some injuries there as well. So let's go to Mike Tomlin over at Heinz Field. All right, you're checking out the audio on the Zoom. This is our new normal, Chris, so we'll try to get that audio up to speed before we get over there. But as I said, there were some injuries today. Deontay Johnson left, did not return. David DeCastro left, did not return. And there was also an injury late to Marquise Pouncey, so hopefully we'll get an update on all of that coming up from Mike Tomlin as he addresses the media over at Heinz Field after a 38-29 win.
Man,
Let's
really
go over there
excited
now.
to get the victory. You know, this is never easy in the NFL on Sunday ball. Got to give Philadelphia a lot of credit, man. They tested us. Their ability to convert third downs offensively, I thought, was a significant component of the game. Some of it was self-inflicted by us and penalties and missed tackles and so forth, but you got to give them guys credit. They had a good plan. They had good execution of the plan, and that allowed them to maintain possession of the ball and keep us at bay and stay in it. But I like our guys. You know, collectively, they fought well together. They complemented one another in all 3 phases of the game. Wasn't a perfect performance by any stretch, but we're not looking for perfect. We're looking to be good enough to win, and had a lot of good contributions from a lot of people. Young guys getting an opportunity to contribute. Claypool obviously was a guy that had a big game, but you know, more subtle contributions like Kevin Dotson being called upon to step up for David DeCastro. We appreciate the development of those guys. We got to continue to grow and develop as a team, not only in terms of skills relative to our positions, but our division of labor, our understanding of situational ball. All the while, we better do enough to win in the process, and thankful that we've been able to do that. From an injury standpoint, Deontay Johnson took a direct blow to the back. You know, I think he may be available next week. DeCastro had an abdominal injury that's being evaluated. His availability is in question, but I have more information for you guys on Tuesday. And, you know, the rest is kind of bumps and bruises associated with play. I know Pouncey wasn't able to continue. He's being evaluated right now. Don't have a lot of information on his foot. Questions?
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Mike, speaking of third downs, you guys were able to convert a lot as well. And what is it about Claypool that he's been able to get involved so quickly? I mean, how much of it is talent? How much of it is just his ability to pick things up?
And let's be honest, Jerry, a lot of it might not even have to do with him and his skill set, man. We just got a well-balanced attack. We got guys that people have to account for, guys like Juju and guys like Deontay and Ebron, and I just think that he's probably a good matchup for whoever people have assigned to him from a man-to-man standpoint. And that's the strength of having a deep group with guys that are capable of making plays. You know, week in and week out, there are going to be different guys that step up and ascend just based on the matchups presented. He had a good matchup this week.
Dejan, go ahead.
Michael, you mentioned the third down conversions that Philadelphia had. So what can you attribute that? Obviously, you haven't had a chance to look at film or anything, but what did you see going wrong there on your end?
No, it was a hodgepodge of things. And like I mentioned first, I want to compliment them. They had a good plan. They had a good execution of plans. They had guys like 13 stepping up and making combat catches, man. We had guys in position. They made some plays. They made some plays on the football. Carson made some throws. He stood in there in the face of adversity and made some throws. So, you know, I don't want to discredit them entirely. Could we be better? Certainly. We had a roughing the passer. We gave up a ball down the middle on a long yardage situation. We had things that we need to focus on and do better. But I'd be remiss if I didn't compliment them for their plan and also execution of the plan in some of the areas that I mentioned.
Brooke Pryor.
Mike, how have you seen Ben's rapport with Chase develop, especially over the last 2 weeks? It seems like he was really looking for him in some of those third down situations and trusted him to make a tough catch.
Like I mentioned before, the strength of our pack is the pack, and to have quality depth and guys that are capable of making plays. He was just going to be the guy today. He had a good matchup, and he made some plays, and they found that rhythm. I don't want to make it out to be something more than it is. It was his turn today based on a lot of things, and he was able to deliver.
Mike Pursuta.
Mike, you mentioned 13. How familiar were you guys with Fulgham coming in it today? He had much of a history in the league.
I'm familiar with him because he's an Old Dominion guy, and I'm a Virginia boy, but I don't know that we are globally familiar with him. I don't know that he has enough of a resume for us to be overly concerned about. But, boy, he made some plays today, and I just got a lot of respect for what he was able to do and thought it was worthy of mentioning.
Joe Rutter.
Yeah, Mike, you guys had a lot of jet sweeps and reverse type plays. Was that something you thought you could exploit with the Eagles? And McLeod had a big run there too for you.
We're just trying to move the ball around and make everybody defend the entire field, both vertically and horizontally, and that's just a component of our attack. We brought it to the stage today, and that's why we thrive to be diverse. To keep people off balance, to be able to go to personalities and utilize those personalities in an effort to win football games.
Anthony Jaskolski.
I'm Mike, just along those lines of Joe's question, how critical was the tight end blocking north to south, especially Vance McDonald on these jet sweeps and reverses today?
I saw several instances where I had direct eyes on Vance in particular, and he did an awesome job. But an evaluation of tight end blocking is something that's probably better done after watching the film from a minutia standpoint.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right, that's Mike Tomlin following the game, 38-29, and there were some injuries. As I said, DeCastro sounds like the one that may be most significant, or at least he's not sure of his availability next week. He got an abdominal injury. Deontay Johnson with a back injury. He should be okay, but we'll get an update on Tuesday when we have the Mike Tomlin press conference here on CW. Real quick, Chris, Matt Canada had his fingerprints all over this one. We've seen a lot of motion from the Steeler offense, and I give Randy Fichtner credit for being, inviting of this sort of stuff. He seems like he has a pretty good relationship with all these guys. They want good ideas. They don't care where those ideas come from. But Canada seems to have had a lot of impression on this offense.
Listen, the play calling today, Bob, was spectacular. You look at the design of some of these plays. Let's talk about that play where Ray McLeod, big play Ray, came around on that jet sweep. It was designed where the front blocked, like they did a couple weeks ago when they had those outside counter plays that were very successful against the Texans. Vance McDonald would take a couple steps that way, come back around, and then he ended up being the lead blocker. They were greatly designed plays. The play there where you saw the screen quick pass to Chase Claypool for that touchdown pass there. I mean, these are plays that you're seeing Matt Canada his fingerprints on these plays, working closely with Randy Fichtner. I mean, together they are meshing as a coaching staff, and it's starting to translate on the football field.
Yeah, on that play, we even saw Trey Edmonds, who was dressed for this game. He was one of the blockers over there, and you clearly can see the defense wasn't aware of it. They had 3 guys on 4 Steelers, and it led to a pretty easy touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When we come back, we're going to talk to TJ Watt. It was his birthday today, and he had a pretty good day, at least 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. He continues to play well for the Steelers. We'll do that, and we also have the final stats of the day. This is the most important stat. 38-29, Pittsburgh moves to 4-0 for the first time in 40 years. More when we come back right here on the Extra Point, Pittsburgh CW.
Determination, desire to be the best, or as we call it, going to work. But good luck getting the job done without the right tools. You'll need an F-150 with best-in-class payload and plenty of capability to do it right. That's how you become the best-selling trucks in Pittsburgh and the official truck of your Pittsburgh Steelers.
You want top quality roofing?
Well, I think JP Roofing was probably one of the best companies I ever worked with. The sales team was very friendly and made the whole process easy from start to finish. You could tell that they cared about the customer. It was just a great experience.
Joe and his team were fantastic. Very polite, knowledgeable, did their job in one day. I can't recommend them enough.
If you're looking to get your roof replaced, hire JP Roofing and Siding. Quality long remembered at a fair price.
Want to sell your Pittsburgh area home faster and for the best price? Then make it RE/MAX Select Realty. RE/MAX Select agents sell up to 3 times as many homes as other agents. That means more buyers searching your neighborhood right now. Call RE/MAX Select today. We'll meet and list your home tomorrow. Plus, get your free RE/MAX market price evaluation. Selling your home is a big decision. Make it RE/MAX Select Realty. See us now at selecthomefinder.com.
We're Steelers. We take what nature provides. We work in what others can't handle. We put it through extremes others can't imagine. And we create something extraordinary. Then we share it with others so they can make their own amazing. Now, Steelers are partnering again, working to bring remarkable to the next generation so they too can be extraordinary.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Bob Pompeani and Chris Hoke back with you here on the Extra Point. Pittsburgh CW, Steelers win 38-29. A lot of points in the NFL once again in this week. Steelers go to 4-0, and the defense, even though it gave up yards, it gave us some things that I think Mike Tomlin will be concerned about. They did get some pressure, especially on 1st and 2nd down. TJ Watt, on his birthday, had another sack today, plus a tackle for a loss. He spoke afterwards, and let's go to that interview right now.
And we knew they were going to try to slow down our rush as best as they possibly could, and I think they did a good job of that early, and we just got to do a better job as a whole on 3rd down.
Chris Adamski.
TJ, how were you physically during this game? We saw you leave the game. Was that the same injury, and how are you doing now?
I just got nicks and bruises. I think that's part of the game, and just coming off to the sideline, making sure everything's all right, and getting cleared and going back out and playing. That's part of the game.
Brian Becko.
TJ, while you were out, did you have a chance to watch much Alex Highsmith's reps? And if so, how did he do filling in there in what was a pretty big spot coming down the stretch?
I think Alex always does a great job filling in. I think he's gaining more confidence as he's getting more reps, and I'm glad that he's in there to take reps when I can.
Tim Benz.
TJ, how did you feel about your own pass rush gathering 5 sacks today and watching your offensive line hold up against their pass rush with them coming in leading the way in sacks this year?
Yeah, I mean, anytime we get after the passer, I think that's what we're trying to do as a front. We pride ourselves on being able to get after the passer no matter what type of protection schemes they have. And anytime our offensive line stops up and is able to protect Ben, I think good things happen. You saw it today.
Aditi, go ahead.
Happy birthday, TJ.
Thank you, Aditi.
3rd down. What was going on? Why these massive chunk plays on 3rd down?
I think it's just there was a little bit of everything, and we just got to go back and look at the film and see where we can get better. I didn't get to see what happened in the back end, what happened in the front end, and everything. So it's too early to say one specific thing.
Will Graves?
Packers could have had a lot more in that one too, Chris. A couple of times I thought Bud Dupree had a couple of sacks that he did not wrap up, and maybe that was the story of the game for the defense too. Not wrapping up, not making tackles. The 74-yard touchdown by Miles Sanders was a draw play, and after that they pretty much contained him, and Mike Hilton had a chance at him, couldn't do it, and he leads to a touchdown.
And that's where Mike Hilton's got to come up. When he's playing in that center field position, coming up in that run support on 3rd and long, he has to make that play on Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders shook him a little bit, went down, went 74 yards for a touchdown. When you talk about today, the reason why they struggled at times on 3rd down, I mean, Bob, they gave up 71% on 3rd downs today to the Eagles, which is way above their season average. And when you look at it, I mean, TJ Watt won't talk to you about why. I mean, they know why right now, and there are times times when they weren't able to get pressure on Carson Wentz on third down. I mean, T.J. Watt, he had that sack. It was a coverage sack. He had a couple pressures, but he struggled at times. I think it's because he's nicked up. He's beat up a little bit to put pressure consistently like we're used to seeing on Carson Wentz. Bud Dupree had missed that sack, but he had that one sack late in the game, but he struggled as well to consistently put pressure on Carson Wentz. And right now, the back end, like I said earlier, if that pressure and they're not stressing that quarterback, they're struggling to cover receivers, and we're seeing that week in and week out now.
Yeah, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick had a bad day based on his standards as well. Yeah. Those guys have got to make plays in that situation, especially when you're bouncing off people instead of wrapping people up. And that was an issue with, I think, a lot of those guys. And right now it's time for our final stats. And Chris, Ben Roethlisberger doesn't get enough love for his performance. Talk about that and all the final stats here.
Yeah, Bob, let's take a look at the final stats presented by JP Roofing. And you look out here, I mean, first downs again, the Steelers, every single week are winning on first down, 25 to Philadelphia's 20. In the running game here, this is just deceiving. You look at the Eagles, they had 94 yards rushing, but really 74 of those were on that one run by Miles Sanders early in the game. After that, there were 15 carries for 20 yards. The Steelers had 136 yards. Still, they just are pounding the football and controlling the line of scrimmage. And the passing game, consistent, getting the ball to Chase Claypool with the 110 yards throwing. Here, 231 yards out of Ben Roethlisberger. The penalties, again, still trouble. Still trouble here with the Steelers with the penalties. 8 for 86 yards. They've got to clean that up, but still a winning effort. They'll take it here, 4-0 for the Steelers.
Yeah, and you're right about the penalties. We hadn't seen a holding call all day long for the first 3 weeks, and all of a sudden they had a couple of them in the same drive today. By the way, I mentioned Roethlisberger, 27 for 34, 3 touchdowns, 239 yards. That's the kind of performance that if a lot of quarterbacks make it, they're talked about. It's kind of just ho-hum around here. He was outstanding engineering that offense with a lot of different kind of plays, motion, quick hitters, and that sort of thing. And I thought he did a very good job with us. So again, 27 for 34, 239, and 3 touchdowns. Steven Nelson came up with some big plays. He had not had a good first 3 games. He's speaking right now at Heinz Field.
Hey, Steve, how much did it help, or how much did you even notice the return of fans, at least a few of them today at Heinz Field for you guys?
Man, it helped tremendously, man. Like, that energy that our fan base brings, it does something to us, man, as players. So we definitely appreciate that support from our fans.
Chris Damsky, trip.
Steven, I know we're probably going to chase Claypool. What did you notice from him during camp? Did you think he had this in him to be able to be this good this early in his NFL career?
Yeah, he showed a lot of great things during camp, coming in as a young guy. Looks like he picked up on the playbook pretty fast. You know, he was making plays early. So definitely, yeah, the young man has a bright future.
Dale Ollie, wow, DK.
Hey, Steven. They hit you guys with some long third down conversions. Is there anything you could put your finger on right at this point?
No. We'll clean it up, watch the film later. We got the win. All that matters.
All right, Mike Pursuta, DVE. It's going to be the last one.
Steven, how much did you know about Fulgham before the game, and what goes into preparing for a guy with very little of an NFL resume?
Who's that?
13.
Oh, 13. Nothing really. I mean, we saw him a few times, but didn't really watch him. You know, they had guys questionable like Sean Jackson, so for the most part, watching him. And, you know, it's the NFL. Everybody, you know, if you're out there on the field, you're very capable. But he played a decent game, 13.
Yeah, I'm going to do one more, Tim Benz.
Yeah, Travis Fulgham, and what a story. And sometimes all it takes is opportunity. As a 6th-round pick, you don't get many, but when you get them, put up plays. He did last week. Big touchdown that won the game against the 49ers, and today he was unstoppable against the Steelers defense, who doesn't know a lot about him, but they do now. If they ever meet again, they'll know about Travis Fulgham. I guess it's one of those games I would label it as nice win to get, certainly a lot to complain about. I guess that fits the narrative. When we come back, we're going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger, his day, and you're going to hear from number 7. 38-29 Steelers get to 4-0. It's all coming up live right here on Pittsburgh CW.
Open a Dollar Bank Everything checking account today and earn $400.
Heinz Field, PNC Park, a rugged skyline,
From our offices in Gateway Center, we see the heart of Pittsburgh. But even the strongest people in the most resilient cities sometimes have bad things happen. The attorneys at Bordas & Bordas understand this and are proud of the results we've obtained for our clients. But we're most proud that we get to fight for justice in this great city. Bordas & Bordas, fighting for justice. Proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Catch the improv insanity.
Famous last words.
Is that a meteor? Whose line is it anyway? New episode this Monday at 8/7 Central, only on the CW.
Brought to you by Navigating Teen Life. Join teens just like you as we navigate teen life together.
Join us every night of the week, 52 weeks a year, following the 10 o'clock news for the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, only on Pittsburgh CW.
It's Ford Truck Month, and if this is your kind of day, and this is your kind of truck, then this is your month. Ford Truck Month. Now, get great deals on Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 43 years.
Get a 2020 F-150 with $10,200 in total savings and a complimentary 2-year maintenance plan. Visit a neighborhood Ford store dealer near you.
Jason Waller, founder of Power Home Solar, America's fastest growing solar company. We've teamed up with Generac, the nation's largest provider of backup energy systems. Together with our American-made solar panels, you'll lower your energy bill, saving thousands of dollars every year, and you'll protect your home from being without power. Make the call 1-800-SOLAR-POWER and save $2,000. Generac and Power Home Solar, the new #1 team in home energy. Let the sun shine in.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Yes, we are back, and the Steelers keep doing business. 38-29, a high-scoring affair over at Heinz Field. Steelers now 4-0. Eagles dropped to 1-3-1, and who knows, that's still maybe good enough for first place in the NFC East. Now the Steelers get into some division games coming up, and a big one next week. Chris, let's look down the road a little bit.
Yeah, let's look down the road, Bob, and let's look ahead to presented by Neighborhood Ford Store. And this really the look ahead here. The Cleveland Browns next week is a big game. Right now they're losing 7-3 against the Indianapolis Colts, but that right now they're 3-1 and looking like a very tough matchup coming up next week. The Tennessee Titans, as we know, rescheduled from a game that was supposed to be played a week ago. Everyone anticipated that game. It's going to be a smash-mouth football game. The Titans are off to a great start in this season. Baltimore Ravens. I mean, who's not excited about the Baltimore Ravens? A team that right now is 3-1 coming into this weekend and had a big win today, 27-3 over the Bengals, and then the Cowboys. But those two games that stand out to me, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, these will be big games in terms of AFC North football that could be deciding factors in the playoffs come December.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the Browns are currently losing, but the Ravens won today, and they really made it look easy against Cincinnati. Joe Burrow got hit a couple of times, banged up in that game, and the Ravens moved to 4-1. So the first of two, and that will be big. Ben Roethlisberger had a big day, as I said, only 7 incompletions, 27-34, 3 touchdowns. He spoke after the game at Heinz Field.
That's a new formation we put in this week, you know, with Ray in the game, taking the back out. And we went to it a couple times today. And so we expected them on that particular play to kind of go with an all-out blitz. So we had a play called to get the ball out quick and hopefully try and beat the blitz. And they sat back in a cover 2 zone and just wasn't what we expected. So I saw that and I changed the play. And I think the coolest part about the whole thing is we've never run the play I called with that formation or that group on the field. So Chase has never been in that spot. Ray's never been in that spot. The other 3 kind of know what they're supposed to do. But, yeah, we changed the play, and my, you know, just I can't say enough about Chase getting down the middle of the field and you know, kind of making that play for us.
Jeff Hathorn.
Ben, how is it a rookie with no preseason is able to have this kind of impact this early in his career?
He's talented. He has got some God-given abilities that not many people in this world have. He's big, fast, and strong, and he's very, very smart. And so we're able to do those things like move him around and do some things with him. You know, that last touchdown, perfect example. Like I said, it changed the play, and he makes it happen. I just have to give him a little bit of a cue on it, and he's, you know, it's awesome. So I just really proud of the way that he's playing right now.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Ben, it wasn't just that touchdown adjustment. All game, you had kind of using different formations, unbalanced line, a lot of reverses, that bunch formation on the one touchdown. You kind of, it looked like you broke open the playbook quite a bit there, at least went to a lot of different stuff.
Right, yeah. Randy kind of threw the kitchen sink at him today. We kind of had to. I mean, that's a really good defense. And you can say what you want about being banged up in the secondary, but that front 8-9 guys that get after you, rotating guys in, and they rush hard. Someone asked me how I feel. I said, I feel like it's a typical Eagles game. I mean, sore. It's just one of those games. It's real physical. So those guys up front really got after us today. Made some things uncomfortable for us. So we had to throw some different looks and different formations and reverses and personnel, and we persevered.
Yes, they did. And Chris Hoke, I never would have imagined, if you had asked me before the game, who would be the first guy to carry the football? Ray McLeod? I did not see that coming, but he had a big run in this game, aided by a nice Vance McDonald block. So they see something in him that they like.
Big play, Ray. I'll tell you, he makes guys miss. He'll beat you down the field. He is a fast guy. He's very elusive. And again, that play was designed beautifully because the way it looked to the defenders was it was that old counter play, and then they came back and they wheeled Vance McDonald around the lead block and brought Ray, big play Ray around for that 58-yard run. And that's what you're starting to see from the Steelers. They're getting very creative, and you can do that when you have very athletic, exciting, elusive players like the Steelers do on offense.
Yeah, we saw, as I said, a couple of other guys, young guys get in there. Not just him, not just Chase Claypool, but another rookie, Kevin Dotson. How do you look at his performance? He got into the game. DeCastro got injured again, and he got called for a couple of penalties, but overall, in the run game, he seems to really be what he was as advertised, which is a really difficult guy to deal with.
Yeah, he had a holding penalty on a run play that brought him back, and that was a tough call because it was holding. But overall, you look at, you can't let one play define you. And overall, he is pass blocking well. Ben only got sacked one time today. He's getting after it in the run game. That's what he's really known for, is just a big mauler in the run game. And he's really holding up at that area of his game. So I give him high grade right here. He is playing a good football, and he has Chooks next to him, Chooks Okorafor. He is still young in his career in terms of playing snaps. So that right sideline of scrimmage is holding up, and it's exciting to see two young guys on the rise.
All right, I know it's only 4 games, but coming into this season, we talked about the pecking order at wide receiver. And Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, a lot of people thought it could be reversed anyway. James Washington's back for his 3rd year, but Chase Claypool, a rookie. Now, when you look at it, who's the #1 receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I still think it's Juju. Here's what's going to happen, Bob. Juju's the #1 receiver. He's going to get all the attention. He's getting double-teamed. He's getting bracketed. They're clamping down on him. So that's going to open up opportunities for Chase Claypool. It's going to open up opportunities for James Washington and the tight ends. And that's what you're seeing today. That's why Juju didn't have a lot of catches. And when Chase Claypool and these other receivers have their opportunities, they've got to make the most of those opportunities. It's exactly what Chase did today.
Yeah, he did, and you're right. That's a good point. We saw a couple of isolations where it was Juju Smith-Schuster being covered by a couple of guys, and that always leaves somebody open, and today Chase Claypool made them pay. That's going to do it for us. Chris, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. It's great being with you.
All right, we'll do it again next week. We're ramping up into AFC North football. It's the Browns and the Steelers at Heinz Field next week. We have a full day for you there as well. Tonight, join us on Pittsburgh CW. We have the Nightly Sports Call coming at you at 10:35. I want to hear from you, and then we wrap it all up on KDKA with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Mark Caboli, Jeff Hathorn, Rich Walsh, and I will debate all these issues and more. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the Steelers win. They get to 4-0 for the first time in 40 years. Have a good day.